Everything we thought we knew about the UFC's lightweight division is wrong. The division has been completely turned on its head by a single fight, ending in a result so shocking it left the entire MMA world silent. A new king has been crowned at UFC 317, and the story of how he got the belt is one you won't believe. Every kingdom eventually needs a new ruler, and the lightweight division learned this the hard way. The chaos began when its champion, Islam Makhachev, suddenly abdicated the throne. In a stunning move that no one saw coming, the pound-for-pound king relinquished his 155-pound belt, deciding instead to chase a second title in the welterweight division. His departure left a massive power vacuum, throwing the once stable division into complete disarray. For the Sharks circling in the top ranks, this was the moment they had been waiting for. But a new predator was rising faster than anyone else, ready to leap into the chaos and claim the crown for himself. From the chaos of the vacant title, one name emerged with terrifying momentum: Ilia, El Matador Topuria. He wasn't just another lightweight contender, he was the undefeated, undisputed king of the featherweight division, fresh off a spectacular, career-defining victory over the legendary Max Holloway. After that win, Topuria made it clear that he had cleaned out the entire 145-pound division. For a fighter like him, dominance wasn't enough. He craved legacy, and that meant moving up to conquer the most dangerous division in the sport. He vacated his featherweight belt, leaving his kingdom behind for a new, more challenging hunt. His ambition was laser-focused on one man. Topuria made the move to 155 pounds with the sole intention of challenging Islam Makhachev, boldly declaring that he was the better fighter and would do whatever I want to do to the pound-for-pound king. He saw it as a battle between the two best fighters in the world, but with Makhachev's sudden departure, Topuria's plans took a dramatic turn. He arrived in a new division ready to dethrone a king, only to find the throne empty and waiting. This twist of fate put him at the very front line for the vacant title, instantly transforming him from a new challenger into the man to beat. The only question left was who the UFC would dare to put in front of this unstoppable force. With a new killer like Topuria waiting at the gates, the UFC's next decision was under intense scrutiny. The lightweight division was stacked with dangerous contenders, all of them hungry for a shot at the empty throne. The name on everyone's lips was Arman Tsarukyan, a fighter who seemed destined for a title fight, but a past mistake, pulling out of a previous championship bout, had apparently left him in the matchmaker's bad books. Then there was the human highlight reel Justin Gaethje. Despite a strong comeback win, the brutal knockout loss he'd previously suffered was still fresh in everyone's memory, and it just wasn't enough to secure the shot. Other names like Michael Chandler and Paddy Pimblett weren't even in the serious discussion. The UFC had to look past the obvious choices, leading them to a pick that was both surprising and fascinating. And so, the promotion turned to a former king, a man who had tasted gold before and was desperate to reclaim it: Charles "Du Bronx" Oliveira. He was a legend of the sport, holding the record for the most finishes in UFC history. For the UFC, this was the perfect narrative. They chose the one man whose experience and deadly submission skills presented a unique threat to Topuria's aggressive forward pressure style. The fight was officially announced for UFC 317, setting the stage for a spectacular collision. It was a promoter's dream: the undefeated, supremely confident young lion against the crafty, battle-hardened veteran. The physical battle was set, but first, the war of words had to begin. Long before the first punch was thrown, the mental battle began, and Ilia Topuria proved to be a master of psychological warfare. He didn't just promise a victory, he systematically tried to dismantle his opponent's confidence. He laser-focused on Oliveira's professional record, relentlessly bringing up his past defeats. Topuria claimed that a man with 10 losses has a different mentality, suggesting that Oliveira already knew how to give up when the fight got tough. He painted a picture of a fighter who would crumble under pressure and look for an escape on the ground, calling into question the very heart of the former champion. Topuria contrasted this with his own undefeated mindset, a fighter who had never tasted defeat, and who, in his words, you would have to kill to make him give up. But Oliveira is not a man who is easily rattled. He has faced down fearsome opponents and sharp-tongued critics for years. With a calm, almost chilling confidence, he dismissed Topuria as just another dude that's talking that's going to fold in front of me. He didn't get angry, he simply presented his own truth. He promised to be the one moving forward, to be the one applying the pressure, and to be the problem of this division that Topuria could not solve. He acknowledged the young challenger's confidence, but treated it as the arrogance of youth. The war of words had set the stage for an intensely personal showdown, a battle between two fighters with unshakable self-belief. The talk was over, and a collision of two opposing wills was now inevitable. As fight week dawned, the air grew thick with an almost unbearable anticipation. The war of words was over, and all that remained was the promise of pure, unfiltered violence. This wasn't just a fight, it was a collision of two unstoppable forces. On one side, you had Topuria, who had enjoyed the happiest and most effective training camp of his career, free from the brutal weight cuts of featherweight. He was a freight train of aggression, promising to move forward and overwhelm Oliveira with power. On the other side, you had the crafty veteran, a man who had weathered every kind of storm and held the record for the most finishes in UFC history. Everyone knew this fight wasn't going to the judges' scorecards. Someone was getting wrecked. In the final days leading up to the clash, both fighters made their intentions crystal clear. There was no hesitation, no doubt, only absolute certainty in their own victory. Topuria, brimming with the confidence of an undefeated champion, made a chillingly specific prediction. He was going to finish Charles Oliveira in the first round. He wasn't hoping for it, he was envisioning it as the only possible outcome. Oliveira, meanwhile, carried a quiet but deadly resolve, promising to walk forward and drag the young challenger into a war he wasn't prepared for. The stage was set, an undefeated phenom promising a quick execution against a legendary former champion promising a grueling war. Only one of them could be right, and then it was over. In a flash of violence that nobody truly believed was possible, the main event of UFC 317 came to a stunning and definitive end. The roar of the packed T-Mobile Arena fell to a sudden, collective gasp of disbelief. Commentators were left speechless as the referee rushed in to wave off the fight, confirming what thousands had just witnessed but could barely process. The man who had promised a first-round finish, the man whose confidence was seen as pure arrogance, had backed up every single word. The unthinkable had happened, and the division would never be the same. It wasn't a lucky punch, nor was it a back-and-forth war that could have gone either way. It was an execution. Just as he had predicted, Ilia Topuria delivered a devastating knockout in the very first round. He weathered an early storm from Oliveira, remained patient, and then uncorked a perfectly timed right hand that sent the former champion crashing to the canvas. There was no need for follow-up shots. The fight was over the second it landed. As Oliveira was attended to by the medical staff, Topuria stood calmly in the center of the octagon, a chilling expression on his face. It wasn't a celebration, it was a confirmation. The lightweight division didn't just have a new champion, it had a new master, and the era of El Matador had officially and brutally begun. So there you have it. A story that began with an empty throne ended with the coronation of one of the most dominant and prophetic champions the lightweight division has ever seen. We witnessed a masterclass in psychological warfare where Ilia Topuria didn't just fight his opponent, but completely dismantled him mentally before they ever stepped into the cage. He called his shot with chilling accuracy, turning what many considered arrogant trash talk into a documented prediction. The division's landscape has been violently redrawn by a fighter who doesn't just believe he's the best, he operates with a level of certainty that seems almost supernatural. The question now isn't if he can be beaten, but who on earth has what it takes to challenge a man who appears to be living 5 steps ahead of everyone else? The future of the 155-pound division is now officially the El Matador era. What does this mean for top contenders like Arman Tsarukyan or Justin Gaethje, who were watching from the sidelines? Do they have an answer for this kind of power and precision? But we want to know what you think. Be honest, did you see that coming? Let us know in the comments how you called it, or share your thoughts on this shocking outcome. Don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed this breakdown, and of course, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a single update on the wild, ever-changing landscape of the UFC.